Good day. Today's lesson in Game Programming 1 is all about starting with UI in Unity. The learning objectives for this lesson is for you to gain an understanding about the UI design process and workflow. Acquire knowledge about the basics of the Canvas component in Unity. Be aware of the various UI elements in Unity and how they can be used in your project. We'll be discussing about the design process, the base setup, and the overview of common UI elements that come with Unity. The workflow for designing UI in Unity follows a slightly different path than the one we have been going through so far. Its elements shouldn't be treated like standard game objects in that they should be able to be scaled dynamically depending on the target screen resolution. Placing UI elements in a scene requires you to have a canvas component where all these elements are stored. The canvas is like a drawing sheet where the UI elements are rendered or drawn into the scene. Creating UI elements without an existing canvas will automatically create one, as well as an event system for registering mouse clicks on various UI elements. Let us now look at the canvas game object to know about the additional new components. We have the Rect transform, which is a kind of transform component that a game object is required to have. Instead of describing an imaginary point in 3D space, a Rect transform describes an imaginary rectangle instead. This means we need additional properties for defining exactly where the rectangle is, how big it is, and how it is oriented. As you notice, it contains some standard properties of a rectangle like the height and width, as well as a layout concept called anchors. These are shown as 4 small triangular handles in the scene view, and anchor information is also shown in the inspector. The shape of the canvas cannot be modified, and the default settings make it comparatively gigantic than the main camera. The canvas component is where we tweak how the UI is drawn into the scene. It has a render mode property which determines the method of drawing the canvas onto the game view. We have 3 options in the drop-down list. Let us learn about the options in the following slides. The Screen Space Overlay mode places UI elements on the screen rendered on top of the scene. If the screen is resized or changes resolution, the canvas will automatically change size to match this. This is similar to Screen Space Overlay, but in this render mode the canvas is placed a given distance in front of a specified camera. Its settings like the perspective, field of view, and so on all affect the appearance of the UI. In World Space Render mode, the size of the canvas can be set manually using its Rect transform, and UI elements will be rendered based on their 3D placement. This is useful for UIs that are meant to be a part of the world. This is also known as a diegetic interface. The canvas scaler component is used for controlling the overall scale and pixel density of UI elements in the canvas. This scaling affects everything under the canvas, including font sizes and image borders. The UI Scale Mode property contains a drop-down list of how you want the scaling to be done. The Graphics Raycaster component is used to raycast against a canvas. The raycaster looks at all graphics on the canvas and determines if any of them have been hit. The term raycasting means generating a ray from a point to a specified direction, detecting any colliders that hit the ray. This is useful for shooter games, bullet hell games, and even adventure games. Being able to trace where a bullet or laser is traveling means that we know how it behaves. We can watch and manipulate it in the game world.